Hi, everyone. I'm back again. And today's fascinating synastry is between Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. Now, I know that you're all familiar with the allegations that have come out against him by this woman named Jane Roe that accused him of sexual misconduct, to put it mildly. So I'm going to go over the whole chart between him and Trisha and tell you what I found. Now, his Bacchus and Narcissist conjuncts her midheaven, and the midheaven sits at the top of the chart. So the whole world will eventually see these energies. And in this case, Narcissist, and that's self-explanatory. And there's a lot of people out there that actually don't like him and think that he is a narcissist and that he is guilty of these accusations. Now, his Bacchus is holding hands with Narcissist, and that has to do with an overindulgence in either partying, sexual activities, just an overindulgence energy. And that may also have to do with his career with his music. But there's things going on behind the scenes that I'm going to get to. Now, I don't know if he's actually guilty of what she's accusing him of, but I can tell you that there are certain instances that I believe of certain things that she has said that I believe that I'm going to get to as I'm doing this chart. I actually did this chart 4 years ago. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, well, you wouldn't actually believe the energies or the aspects and how they play out unless it comes to fruition. And that's the problem with having an idealization of celebrities, because what you see in the media is not what goes on behind the scenes. You see two people, they're holding hands at the awards, they're smiling and holding each other. And it's just, to me, a very contrived, fake persona. And it happens more often than not. I mean, you're not going to actually see them showing up and arguing with each other, or somebody grabbing a box of tissues and saying, oh, well, he did this to me and, we're going to have a divorce. It just doesn't work that way. Now, his Zeus in the 7th house conjuncts her Lilith in the 8th house and her South Node. I've seen this many times. This is guaranteed cheating. Zeus was a prolific cheater. He was married to Hera, and he had multiple women on the side. So his Zeus conjuncting her Lilith has to do with sexuality. So that's, to me, that's a guaranteed. And it's conjuncting her South Node, which is interesting here because whatever asteroids or planets conjunct your South Node from the other person, you will accept those energies. Either you will explain it away or you will be in denial about it and just accept that's how it is. That's just how it's playing out. And that's just the way it's going to be. Which is also validated by this because his lie conjuncts her Neptune. And Neptune is a foggy planet. There's deceptions and illusions, and you just can't see things clearly. So with his lie conjuncting her Neptune, she's in a fog. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but it really doesn't really make any difference. I just don't want to, I just don't want to hear it. Can we move on now? That's the energy that Neptune represents. Even more so with the following planetary aspects, because his Neptune squares her Venus and her Venus squares his Neptune. When you have, it's bad enough to have Neptune squaring Venus by itself because that indicates fogginess and deception. But now we have a double whammy. So there is deception on both sides in this love relationship. His Chiron conjuncts her moon. That has to do with emotional pain. I think that he brought her or brings her emotional pain in this relationship. You just can't get around Chiron conjuncting moon. I've seen this happen so many times. It can bring healing, but Honestly, I see that rarely, unless there's a bunch of other aspects in the synastry chart to validate that. But in this case, it looks like it's going to the painful energies as a whole, and cheating and abuse, which I will get to. Now, her hell conjuncts his Jupiter, Sun, and South Node. Hell has to do with covering things up, things that are hidden beneath the surface that you can't see. And since her hell is conjuncting his Jupiter, this magnifies that energy, and it's conjuncting his Sun and his South Node. So her hell conjuncting his South Node, that's like, I've already explained the South Node, the way that works, but he's just like, well, she's my wife. Of course she's going to cover this up. We're not going to bring this out into the open. We're not going to let everyone know what's going on. And we've been married for 20 years, and she's my partner in crime, which leads me to other aspects as well. But first I want to say, in his natal chart, his Venus in Aquarius, he's got a whole bunch of planets in a stellium in the sign of Aquarius. So they love their freedom. They need their freedom. And his Venus in Aquarius, that's the energies of that. Freedom in the love relationship. He needs his emotional freedom. He needs to have some distance. And that is validated by the asteroid Eleutheria conjuncting his Venus as well. And also the asteroid Calypso. Calypso has to do with covering things up, things that are hidden, and you can't figure it out. I think, this is my opinion, I think there's more that's being hidden besides this other woman that is bringing these allegations against him. I think he's got a lot of dirt beneath the surface that no one else knows, but I think Trisha knows. I do, because of her hell conjuncting his Jupiter and South Node. So these two are not the all-American couple. I mean, it looks that way on the surface, and there's many people that are like, oh, Garth would never do that. I read a comment on a YouTube video, and someone said, I felt like I lost my mother and my puppy. This is the problem. When you see celebrities as gods, or you over idolize them, you put yourself into a position of finding out the truth, and it really puts you into a tailspin. Now, his nymph, Asmodeus, conjuncts her DC, her descendant, and her Mira. Now, it's unbelievable to me. I mean, it's not unbelievable, but it's fascinating how, if you want to know the truth, just go to the synastry chart. His nymph, that's self-explanatory. That has to do with being, a nymphomaniac. And Asmodeus has to do with the demon of lust and being cornered and trapped. That conjuncts her descendant. So he brought those energies right into the relationship. But the interesting part of this is that her Mira conjuncts her descendant. Now, whatever conjuncts your descendant in your natal chart, that's what you're going to look for in another partner. And what is conjuncting her descendant? Mira. Mira has to do with the energies. I've talked about Mira so many times, but I will repeat it in case you haven't seen any of those videos. Now, Mira has to do with perverse sexual activities, orgies, things that are not considered normal between two people sexually, and kinkiness as well. So that's what she looks for in a partner, and she got it with him. I think maybe she's a dominatrix. I don't know. But behind the scenes, these two, and that's another thing. I said this in the beginning of the video. He said to this woman, well, we could have a threesome with my wife, Trisha. I believe it, because this right here, Mira explains that perfectly. And he's got his nymph, Asmodeus, being quartered and trapped, conjuncting her DC, a very important angle in a natal chart, as well as synastry, and Mira is there. All together, wrapped up in a bow. Now, her night, Bacchus and Pan conjuncts his north node. So the theme of this relationship for him, because those energies are conjuncting his north node, is, well, there's 3 asteroids here, so I'm going to break it down. Night has to do with loyalty, devotion, and she will always have his back. So she's going to defend him. No, that's not my husband. Oh, he would never be like that. That's just not him. I'm loyal and I'm going to be there for him. That's Night. Bacchus is there. Overindulgence again. I've already explained Bacchus in the beginning of the video, but we've got, overindulgence, and Pan has to do with music, which makes sense, and also can mean drinking, partying, sex, overindulgence in sex, and all of these paints the picture of them. In my opinion, they're at home, they're having parties, and it almost could be like a very mild sort of freak off. And I'm not comparing these two or him to Diddy, but she's not the all-American girl, and he is not the all-American country star, in my opinion. There's lots of salacious, sexy debauchery going on behind the scenes. Now, just keeps rolling right along. His hell conjuncts her north node. So the theme of the relationship for her is hiding things that are hidden, stuff that is secret. And she's got to keep it all under wraps. And also, in his natal chart, his Mira conjuncts his ascendant. You can't make this up. The ascendant that's your rising sign. So it's who you are. It's how you present yourself, who you are to. It's a part of your personality. And he's got Mira conjuncting his ascendant. So that explains it. And also to validate the fact that she covers things up for him. It's a main theme. Keeping things under wraps is her Venus conjuncts his Sphinx. Venus, the love planet. His Sphinx, secrets, mysteries, hidden agendas. If you want to know what those secrets are, you're going to have to guess. You're going to have to figure it out yourself. It's like the Sphinx in Egypt. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but there is stuff there, definitely. I'm just wondering if it's all going to come out in the open, due to these allegations, but that all depends on if he settles out of court or it goes into a jury trial. But I don't have this woman's birth date. I would be able to make that determination if I could do a synastry chart between Garth and this woman, Jane Roe, but I don't know who she is and I don't have her birth times or dates. So I'm going to get back to this. Now, his Nessus conjuncts her ascendant and Jupiter. I already said that one, but her Jupiter's conjuncting his Nessus, so there is abuse there. No, I didn't already say that. I was thinking about Chiron. Okay. So his Nessus is conjuncting her ascendant and Jupiter, and that has to do with abuse. So I think that he's abusive. There's abuse there somewhere. Now, his Ixion and Atahualpa conjuncts her vertex and Ixion. This is interesting. I've talked about Ixion before. It can mean murder. It's traditionally a murder asteroid. But on the mild side, or in other instances, it means lawlessness, being a rebel, bad boy behavior. So he brings bad boy behavior and lawlessness into this relationship because it's conjuncting her vertex. But holding hands with Ixion is the asteroid Atahualpa. Now, I think, this is my opinion, not fact, but there's drugs as well. Maybe they have, it traditionally has to do with cocaine, but it can encompass other drugs as well. So we got parties, overindulgence, Bacchus, that asteroid, validated, Pan, Mira. Now we have possible drugs involved, and that's conjuncting, like I said, her vertex. And her vertex is also conjuncting Ixion as well. So she, crazy. She likes bad boys. She wants lawlessness. She likes this out of the ordinary sort of energy from men, which would make sense because of her mirror conjuncting her descendant. So, like I said, she's not the all-American girl. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to settle. I don't know if he's guilty of all of the things that she has said, like I explained, but there are some things there that show up in this chart as far as his personality. So that's all I have today, and I'm going to be back shortly with other synastry charts. So hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop, and like and share, and have a nice day.